Hello and welcome to Flattening the Curve, Balancing Health, Wellness, and Family in the Era of COVID-19. I don't know why I want to keep saying COVID-14. It's COVID-19. I am your host, Paulette Payne, and tonight we're talking about business revival. So in this era of COVID-19, many businesses, for the most part, are closed. Of course, there are states that are opening up gradually. We have with us two business owners from Atlanta, Georgia, one from Puerto Rico, Bridgit and Crider. Bridgit, wave at us if you will so people know who you are. Crider, Molly Jones, she's streaming out from Puerto Rico, and Denise streaming from Augusta. Each of these women are their own bosses. And they have been impacted tremendously by the COVID-19 pandemic. They're going to talk to us tonight about how it's impacted them, their hopes for the future, what they would impart to new and even current entrepreneurs, and as well as just provide some backstory of who they are. And we'll start off with that. So, Bridgit, starting with you, and then we'll go to you, and then you, Denise. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your business.
First off, my name is Bridgit Crider. I am a professional makeup artist, but I am also a CBD entrepreneur. We have a store here in Atlanta off of Moreland Avenue where we specialize in CBD and as a CBD and the holistic approach for it, and just teaching our customers about the ECS system, how CBD, can assist us and our health. So that's what I do. And I also do makeup for film and television.
And you guys, she's a phenomenal makeup artist.
I'm the makeup artist at Tyler Perry Studio.
Yes. I mean, she's the real deal. And I'll save that story for later. Molly, let's go to you.
Hi, my name is Molly Jones, Montanez, and I live in Puerto Rico. We have a bed and breakfast in Luquillo, Puerto Rico, which is about 35 minutes from San Juan. We also have 2 private apartments that we Airbnb and rent out to families as well. So we've been doing this for about 2015.
2015. So she's a baby, if you will, entrepreneur, but she's got her feet and her roots grounded deeply. And we're going to hear a little bit about her story. And when doomsday hit, if you will, for our businesses, she'll share with us a little bit more about that. Denise.
My name is Denise Tucker, and I am the co-owner of Humanitreehouse in Augusta, Georgia. It is the only cold-pressed juice bar in Augusta, and it's an art gallery as well. And we've been in the area as a storefront for 6 years. And we do cold pressed juice, and we also have a vegan cafe. So we do vegan food, cold pressed juice, art, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And I had an opportunity some years ago to visit Denise's storefront, and it's unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's at the time, Denise, I think at the time you were building it up. I know you had just installed no, this is what I remember. You had just finished the bathroom, or you were working on the bathroom, the art in the bathroom. But anyway.
I think that when you came, we were in the old space. Now we're in another space across the street. So we were in that little small, like 1,000 square foot space, and now we're in a 3,000 square foot space.
Wow,
so
that's right.
It's a completely different space than when you visited. So that means you have to come back to Augusta when all this.
For sure. And Denise, if I may, I'd like to go on and piggyback off of what you said. So you're recently moved to this new location.
2 years.
2 years. Mm-hmm. 2 years. So 2 years in, new storefront, everything's going great. Explain to me your doomsday experience. And when I say doomsday, I mean when things stopped. Everything stopped.
Well, if I can be a little bit transparent, I'll say that initially, of course, yes, we were kind of like forced into the bigger space. So it wasn't like we're going to expand. It was, the other space wasn't doing what it needed to do. So we moved. Mm-hmm. And with more space comes more responsibility. So we were kind of chugging along like one day at a time. I mean, we weren't doing terrible, but we definitely, were still in need of some support. And then it happened. So, and we were like, at first it was like a denial. It was like, okay, I know we're not going to have to close everything down. There's like no way people can live if everything shuts down. And then it just happened. And if you've been to Humanitreehouse, you know that a lot of what draws people to Humanitreehouse is, of course, we serve a large percentage of immune compromised people. So people do come for like the juice and things, but it's the space.
Yeah.
So when we were told, well, now you can only do curbside, takeout, and delivery, then it was like, whoa, I mean, we our business decreased, and it's still at like probably like 20% of what we would normally be doing. And being a minority-owned business in Augusta and being the only cold pressed juice bar, and people aren't getting out, it's been a shocker. But we've adapted. I mean, we're an adaptable. Human beings are very adaptable. We do what we have to do, to get it done. So, yeah, it was when they said, "This is it. Nobody can come in."
Yeah, I was at work. Well, actually, I told my boss, because I'm immune compromised, and I told my boss I just don't feel comfortable coming in. And that about a day or two later, we got an email and said, City Hall shutting down. No movement. So yeah. So Bridgit, talk to us about your doomsday experience, and let us know. I know Denise said that a lot of her clients are immune compromised clients. What type of client frequents your store? First, let's talk about the doomsday experience.
Well, my doomsday, it was a double whammy for me. First off, my main job as a makeup artist, all productions were shut down. So that was number one. Number two, with the store, it was, we just didn't know, because with CBD being so new in Georgia, still, we were trying to figure out, would we be considered an essential business? Then when they started saying that places in California and other states were essential business that involved cannabis or CBD, we were like, well, we should fall up under that category. So that was our biggest thing. Were we going to be considered an essential business? And being that we have only been open since August of last year, it's still it's still very new for us. And we just didn't know what to think, but at the same time, we were like, we have to keep pressing on.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did, we decreased our days, and we get a lot of people that come in our store. Like I said, our store is sort of like a safe haven, for some people, because we get a lot of people with anxiety, a lot of people that are trying to get off of like heavy drugs, or they want to stop smoking, or they're they don't want to be on like a lot of the pain medicine. So it's a big bowl of everything when it comes to who comes into our store. So we were just like, how do we, serve our customers and our community with this going on? And surprisingly, we had people that would be like, oh, I have to just stock up on all of my CBD supplies, or let me stock up on this. And then, oh, we're glad you're open. You guys are open, and this was before the whole wearing the mask issue. Nobody really knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So it was an adjustment. We had to figure out, do we do curbside? Do we do delivery? So it was a whole bunch of things, just trying to figure out what was going to be the next step for us. And we worked it out. But, again, as I forget your name. I'm sorry. In Augusta.
Denise.
Denise, I'm sorry. As Denise was saying, your business went down, you're operating at 20%, and we're the same. I mean, we've seen between a 70 to 80% decrease in our business. So just trying to, let people know that, hey, it's, you don't have to come in. You don't have to do this. We can come to you,
Mm-hmm.
offering those services. So it seemed to help, but it really took a toll.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to come back to that, that whole piece about how were you accommodating your clients during this time. But before that, I want to hear from Molly. I know you said that, 1 minute you were booked to capacity and the next, talk to us about that experience.
Yeah, we were actually 100% booked. It was all of March was 100% booked, and we were already halfway into March. All of April was 100% booked, and June was probably 80.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, as soon as it happened, we just kept getting cancellations, and it was just happened so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So after maybe the first week or two, I offered people the opportunity. I was like, if you rebook for like the end of the summer or whatever, we'll give you one night free. We had a couple people do it for June, and then just last week, the airlines canceled.
Yeah.
We had a cancellation for like the end of June. I mean, their airlines were holding steady, and then now they want to cancel at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like our June was like, maybe like 1/4 what we would normally do, but that was like bills,
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's going to be April, May, June,
Yeah.
3.5 months.
Wow.
So, I mean, of just like no income, like nothing,
Mm-hmm.
nothing at all.
Gosh, I can't even imagine the stress around all of this, because we really don't know when the market and when business will start booming again. They're talking now about a second wave, so we could really, in actuality, reverse from where we are.
Yeah.
We could get started with the businesses opening up and clients, patroning the businesses, and then another outbreak happens and we're back to square one. So we really don't know what the next day will hold, just based on the numbers that we see daily, because it's always
so new.
changing.
Yeah, and I think that's more too, if I can say, for independent, like independently owned businesses, because if you are a person who pays attention to everything,
Mm-hmm.
that's me. I question everything and I pay attention to everything. In actuality, the economy has received a big boost.
Mm-hmm.
That, I've never seen like Walmart and Target and Lowe's and the grocery store as crowded as they are now. And then when the stimulus checks came out, it was like everything was crowded. And I sat back and I was like, okay, so Shopify, the stock went up. It's like almost, it's like triple what it was initially. So people are spending more money, but they're not coming out as much unless they're going for groceries or, and of course with Target and Walmart selling groceries, that increases that. People are doing more home improvement, so they're going to Lowe's. But us, we have our own businesses and independent businesses. We're actually the ones that are seeing the decline.
Right. So with that, how are Molly? This question is for you. How are you handling the business reopening? So everything is shut down right now. So is your governor gradually opening things back up?
Well, they're supposed to make another announcement probably this weekend, because on May 4th was when they were supposedly going to lift it. But what I predict is that they'll do little by little. So right now, we don't even have Home Depot open. They just last week opened like Walmart, where you could go in the store besides food, because even Costco, everything was blocked off except for food. So just last week they opened that. So what I'm predicting is that they'll open up the other essential places. Like I feel like Home Depot is essential at this point. Gardening stores, because there's a lot of gardening stores and those are not open. And maybe some more of those little things at first. But she's been strict. She even lifted the curfew and made it till 9:00, and then all the mayors in Puerto Rico got upset, and she went back down to 7 p.m. We can't even go to the beach. We can't. Like walking, not on the beach, but we can't even walk. Like we're not supposed to do exercise here. So it's been like that for 45 days. And so my thing is, I want to be able to and I've gone in front of the beach and walked, not on the sand, but on the sidewalk the last week. because I'm like, I want to walk. I'm tired of just having to exercise in the house. So I feel like she's going to lift it little by little. And then they even were talking about opening the malls, like, but not the beach. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and Denise, this question is for you. You have eyes on the ground in Augusta, so you can see the temperature. You can feel the temperature in terms of the movement of people and, patroning businesses. What does that look like there? I know the mayor there is following, to a degree, the direction of the mayor of Atlanta. So what does that look like in Augusta?
Quite honestly, it doesn't look much different than it looked before. I mean, you see more people out wearing masks, but in terms of like staying home and no movement, no. I mean, people aren't, of course, people aren't dining in restaurants, but they're still eating, they're still, getting takeout and delivery. People are still in the store shopping. They can't go to the mall, so they're at Walmart or they're at Target, and they're not just buying. See, our essentials are not just roped off. You can get anything you want.
Yeah.
So people are still shopping. People are out. I happen to think outside is healthy. So people have been, to the park. Of course, you're still socially distanced, but, people are out, they're exercising. I see more people in my neighborhood walking, people are gardening. So the only thing that looks different to me is it looks more like a summer where everybody is on vacation and they're just free to kind of move about. But one of the complaints in the city have been from people who are actually truly staying in the house and not leaving is that they don't see any change. They just see people, still out doing what they want to do. And my position on that is, in our county alone, I know Atlanta got hit pretty hard, and I mean, of course, we'll never know how accurate those numbers are, but I'll reserve my opinion on that. But I'll say this. In Augusta, in our school system, we have 30,000 children plus, 30,000 plus, 57 schools, 4,000 educators. And of course, this happened prior to them shutting the schools down, but we don't have one case, in the school system as dense and overcrowded as they are. So to go to the park or to walk with your children or whatever, I don't see the harm in that, and I haven't seen anything different. The only thing I've seen is the impact on local businesses not being able to, be of service in the same way, and the bed and breakfast is being shut down, and the hotels being shut down, and the large venue events being canceled. But in terms of like local economy, like big box stores and things like that, not much change.
Very interesting. Bridgit, of course, you are in the community because you serve the community. I reserve myself to stay home because I have immune challenges. So I stay here unless I have to go grocery shopping, and of course I suit up. I put on all my armor. But in terms of what you're seeing around you, does it look like people are, going about as business as usual? Does it seem like patrons, customers are a little more reserved and cautious and hesitant, maybe scared even? What does it look like?
I think it's a little bit of both, especially coming into the store. We have, like last weekend, there were people coming in. There were a few people that had masks on, and, I, of course, put mine on as well. But I had a few that came in without any, and they just kept their distance. And I'm in a plaza where there's like a restaurant, there's like several restaurants and an ice cream shop and a cupcake shop. And a barbershop next door. And actually the barbershop made a decision to open up last week. And I was watching how they did their people, they rotated their booth printers to come in. So it was like 2 at a time at a 3-hour increment, and all their customers that were waiting were sitting outside. But it just seemed like it was business as usual, but people were being, taking precautions with it. Me, myself, I'm like Denise. I believe that being out, being active, and being it makes us healthy. And I've been, on my walks, on my runs, walking out, in the park, doing my training online with my trainer. So things like that have kept me sane. I don't know if I could have, stayed in the house all day. I literally know people who have been in the house for the past 30 something days. And that, it can't be healthy,
right?
And I understand people have, immune issues. I'm a recovering, diabetic from when I had my diabetes shenanigans, in November. And so I think that, being dormant and not doing anything would have caused me more harm, than, being out here. And I'm like Denise, I'm gonna put my stuff on reserve, but I just feel like it's like how do you balance that scale?
Exactly.
Like she said, people that have been inside, they don't know really what's going on outside because all they see is the television. Somebody posts something on Facebook or or Instagram, so you really don't know, what's going on. But what we do know that this is not good,
Right.
but you have to have, some kind of normalcy has to start somewhere.
I like the idea about getting out and moving, even if it's in your neighborhood. While I am immune compromised, I remember when Atlanta had that, what was it called? Snowmageddon. Yeah. So we stayed in because we couldn't go anywhere. Now I had cabin fever like crazy, and because we just weren't moving. It was cold outside. Didn't want to go to the park. That kind of thing. But now just the walks every afternoon with my dog. I put my mask on and I get my heart rate up, and it has made all the difference in the world. In fact, yesterday we were talking about with my guests about the physical impact or non-physical impact movement has on the mental health. And of course we hear studies all the time about it. It gets the endorphins going. It's good for the heart. It's good for the mind. And certainly going to the park is important during this time. Walking in your neighborhood is important during this time. Exercising, whether it's outside or inside with an app, with your trainer, whatever the case may be, it's critical, absolutely critical. I want to make this plea, if you will, to the audience. If you have questions, please include them in the comments below. Our guests will definitely be interested in answering those questions for you. And we do have one question. Let me see. It says, our president says he wants things open. There should not be people 6 feet away from one another at a baseball game. Can we go back to how things were? So do you think that we will ever go back to life as it was prior to COVID-19 reaching our doorstep, if you will? Bridgit, we can start with you.
I think it will eventually, little by little. Again, I believe that people believe whatever they hear in the media and see on TV. So as soon as somebody says, oh, okay, well, you know what? It's all good. There'll be people, well, I don't know, a little bit, maybe not. But I do believe in due time that this too shall pass, and we will get back to, what our normal, routine is, but we will be better at operating our, normal routines every day.
Right.
And maybe thinking a bit about some things.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I apologize about that. Molly, what are your thoughts about do you think that the bed and breakfast, will be the hot spot, if you will, as it once was? Do you think you'll get back to where you were prior to May 13th-ish, May 16th-ish?
I think it's going to take a little bit longer for travel. I can also rent the bed and breakfast out as a whole unit, as a 4-bedroom unit. So I haven't quite been able to determine, what it's going to be like, because it's a shared space. It has private bedrooms and then 2 bathrooms. So I'm not sure with that. It's just I think there's so many people that are still traveling. I'm not really scared about it. I feel like this is something that will come and go. And I feel like at this point, it's at least showing that it really does. It affects a lot of different people, but it really does affect older people and immune compromised people as well. And so I still feel like maybe the people that are going to be traveling or that would want to stay here might be still the same crowd that wouldn't mind.
Right. Exactly.
As well as the spaces that we have that are private, which I'm not really worried about once we open back up. Because I still do have people that are going to come, and then people that have rebooked and people that didn't cancel that will come back to that too. So at least I can hold on to that.
Right, exactly.
But I know that Puerto Rico just did a survey, and I listened to yesterday, and the airport is predicted to be, and we were actually at a record-breaking tourism this year, because we're only 1 year. We only had 1 full year. The hurricane was in 2017, and then we're getting back on our feet in 2018. 2019 was the only full year we've had. And so also we had record-breaking tourism coming to Puerto Rico, and then what they're predicting now is that by December it'll be 50%. Only 50%. Wow. And then January, February, and March, before this happened, we were above. I think we were like 15% above the normal projected. So we were above the projected travel, and they were opening up different airlines were doing more flights here. One good thing is they just did announce that Puerto Rico will be an international hub instead of just a hub for the Caribbean. So that just was announced, I think, today or yesterday, and that's a good news, because we're the only territory that is recognized for that.
I don't think things will stay like this always.
Yeah.
I think there are seasons and cycles for things to happen. and in those seasons and cycles, it clarifies and it purifies, if you will, whatever the case may be. And then it leaves us in a space and circumstances for things to be better. I can't see, of course, I don't know the future, but I just can't see businesses not performing, if not the same, at least half of the capacity that they were performing prior to COVID-19. At least I would hate for that to be the case, But
it's like, who can hang on too?
Right.
That, Molly?
Right.
Who can hang on?
Yeah.
Because I just want to ask you ladies real quick, what are you guys doing to supplement your income? Have you been approved for any loans, or have you had savings? What did you guys do?
I can honestly say, no, we've applied for everything, but we haven't been approved for anything. And since you said that, somebody had just posted that the governor is sending out stimulus checks, but they're not just sending them out. You have to apply to help, for the PPP. And I mean, when we applied, they had ran out of money, and then they got more. We applied again. We still didn't get approved. So it's still, everybody's not going to be approved. And if this is your only source of income and you don't have a reserve, I mean, some people, their businesses are new, so they've thrown everything into their businesses and they haven't had opportunity to save money, or they don't have a corporate job or anything to fall back on, and their businesses are their sole income. And when they say you can't open, you have no way to make money. So I haven't done anything. The one thing is, my husband is an artist, and he's actually managed to sell some art during this time, which has been awesome, and that's kind of kept us, afloat. if I could just go back to what you asked earlier when you said that we think it'll ever go back, I don't think that it's ever going to be business as usual. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, there's going to be some changes. It's just like anything else big that happens, especially in the U.S. If you think back to 9/11.
Hello, Denise. Molly, Bridgit.
Yes.
There.
Yeah. We are. Yeah. If you think back to 9/11 and where we were before 9/11 and all the security measures and different things that took place after 9/11, I think it's gonna be, we're here now, we have a pandemic. Now there's gonna be extra things that you have to do in order to operate your business and stay open and, extra measures. And, I just think, even with cash, it's been a problem. It's like, oh, well, cash carries germs. But we've had plenty of viruses in this country, in this world, like for decades and centuries, and we've gotten through those. I don't see why we can't, get past this one as well.
Yeah.
And cash has always carried germs.
Nothing new there, huh?
Like some of these things are not new.
Right.
I just like you guys, we sent in our application way early and ran out of money. We're hopeful like, oh, this is going to be something good. They're, going to get some help. And of course, find out I'm not a small business. If Ruth Chris is a small business, I'm a minute business. So you minute businesses. And so no, and don't even know if we're going to get it in this next wave of whatever monies that they have out. So luckily we were able to work out something with our landlord, but again, that was almost like pulling teeth. And every penny that we've taken in, we can't do anything extra. So, because we have to put up for, the rent in June, or, our CAM, or, the light bill, or this bill or that bill. So, it still adds up to thousands of dollars per month, when you're only taking in 20% of, what you usually, take in at 100%. And so, I think, social media, right now, if you're not social media savvy, you might as well be lost in the sauce. I think social media has helped us with, what little, that we are able to do right now. And, I'm even like, want to go back old school, before social media, when I had a business before, we didn't have this right here, or people knowing. There was like old school, going out telling people about yourself and having flyers and this, that, and the other. But you don't even want to give out flyers now because of
I don't want to take them.
Yeah. I'm glad you said this piece about social media. I want to make sure that the audience knows, if you want to get in touch with Denise, Molly, or Bridgit, their information, it should be in the description of this video, of this live stream. So just make sure, if you're interested in following them or going to their websites to see what they have to offer, make sure you click on their links and look away. And I'm sure they'd be very, very grateful for any business that you might be able to provide. So I want to kind of switch gears, because we're talking about, the challenges now in this COVID-19 era, and entrepreneurship, and not getting stimulus money that, that is due you, so that you can operate, so you can pay your bills and you can live. What would you say to someone who just opened a business, or who's considering opening a business during this time? Would you tell them, wait a minute, just slow down, just hold on, let's see what happens? Or would you tell them to go on and go full force and follow their dreams? Molly?
I would say definitely follow your dreams. But also think of having it, like you mentioned, have a really strong social media presence. We've kind of known that, and some people get it more than other people, but that is the key thing. Having growing that, and maybe having something that you can sell online, or that you can do in case something like this happens. And also, I know people say it all the time, but you have to have a savings, at least 4 months. Because if you don't, 6 months is ideal.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that, then I would be out of it. Then I don't know. I don't even know what would happen.
Yeah.
And so I think social media is the biggest thing, and having your business in order from the beginning. Mine was like kind of almost there. I was getting an accountant in March, and like doing some extra stuff, and really getting Puerto Rico stuff really in order. And then this hit. So I kind of had to rush to get 2019 so that I could maybe qualify for some of these things. But like Bridgit said, and Denise said, they're not really approving people that don't have employees. Mm-hmm. And even a lot of the grants, there was even a grant from an Atlanta-based, I forgot who it was, but there was a grant, and you really have to have at least 2 employees. For me, we have contracting. And I was actually, before the hurricane, going to set Pedro, my husband, up as an employee and have us but we didn't. Then we kind of lost track of that after the hurricane. Yeah. And so the ideas that I had, I kind of procrastinated on as well, which I wish I had been more prepared, because then maybe we would have qualified for something if I'd had those things set in place that I had in mind to do. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we're going to actually just try to do like a Kiva loan and see if that works, because I've never done that before.
And I have 5 employees, and I still didn't get approved. And most of the businesses that have gotten approved or funded, they have 10 or more, employees. So it's been, and I think I have one friend who got approved. She has, I think, 3 employees, but she got $700 because it's like a sliding thing. It's not, everybody's not going to get $10,000. So you have less employees, you get less money. But
so basically it's enough to pay a light bill, maybe, surveillance if you have surveillance.
Exactly.
I think that one of the things that, people aren't really thinking about, because social media can be a demon, in terms of following it, with because the only thing that's happening right now, people are only talking about COVID-19. So if you pay attention to only that, you can be very discouraged. But one of the things that I've said to people when they say, well, you definitely should not open your business. I don't care if the governor says you can open, you should stay closed. Well, my thing is, I still have a family to provide for. So I can't necessarily just close. And although they are pausing, on, evictions and, rent and utilities, as soon as they say we can go back to work, those things become due. So now, some people have, 2 months of power bills. Well, in a commercial business, like in my business, the size of my business and the size of my equipment, 1 month power bill is $1,200. So, you double that. I can't let that just pass and then don't open. And then I'm trying to,
Right.
So it's different when people are not running a business and not, it's hard to explain that to someone who just gets a paycheck.
Right.
And, and then you're like, well, it's no different. If you fall a few months behind on your bills, it's hard to catch up. So can you imagine somebody that has a $3,000 or $4,000 a month business rent, and things on top of that. And then you get people, well, you chose to do that. Well, yeah, I chose to do this, but at the same time, you choose to take care of your family. This is how we operate, and this is what we have to do. There were people that literally cursed me out online. I can't believe you're still open. Well, first off, I was considered an essential. That's number one. Secondly, there are people that still depend on us.
Right.
You don't even know the people that come in that are suicidal, and people that aren't into holistic or alternative medicine don't understand, or alternative, healings don't understand, what someone else is going through. So it's hard, but for people to be policing people about their business. I think it's just so wrong because, like Denise said, and like Molly says, when this is over, guess what? It's business as usual.
Right.
People are going to want their money. And these same people that are talking this, wait till that unemployment runs out.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know,
have a whole different meaning and outlook on all of this.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you have a subculture, or like, you know, people who are into natural, you know, natural healing. And see, for me, a lot of my customers are immune compromised, and because I do raw, unpasteurized, cold pressed juice. So they don't even function like my customers that are, you know, in chemo right now. They need my juice in order to keep their platelet count up, you know, to keep their energy. So I have to be able to make juice. I can't, you know, go, well, you're forcing your employees to work. Well, they have to take care of their families too.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things. The policing is probably one of my biggest challenges. And the people who consistently say, well, did you apply for that money? Well, yes, I did. They don't understand when you say, well, I didn't get it.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I get all day. My inbox is like full of people sending me links for loans and grants. And, you know, and although I know I should be applying to everything, it does get a little bit overwhelming after, you know, you haven't been funded and you just continue to keep putting your information out there. And people who don't know your business model, you know, they're looking at you going, I don't understand why you don't have any money. Like, you know, Molly has a bed and breakfast. She doesn't have a slew of employees. When a bank looks at that, they may say, well, you know, no, I can give you a personal loan, but you're not eligible for this money.
And who wants to put themselves in that position where you have to, you know, get a loan, you know, for this, because this is not the time. So, you know, sometimes it's just not right, you know. You get people, you know, when we tell people, oh, well, you know, we put our money together as a family to open up the business. Well, you guys should be okay. You don't have any loans. Well,
we used our money. And, you know, like Molly said, well, it's a good idea to have savings. It is. But what if you put all of your money into your business and you've been going, okay, we're going to turn a profit and then I can start putting this money back into my savings. But if you've invested everything you have into your business, a lot of business owners are, you know, like people who work paycheck to paycheck. We're like, you know, day to day. I don't know tomorrow what we're going to bring in. And it's like that, you know, every day right now. It had been before this happened. I kind of had a general idea of which days were busier, what I would generally bring in and what I could do. Now it's like a crapshoot.
It's like one weekend you're busy, the next weekend you're like, oh, nobody came in. You know, it's nice outside. You see people out, but you know, they're getting food or they're, you know, just hanging out, you know, or, you know, trying to just get whatever fresh air they can, or it's, you know, it's hard, but it's not that hard, you know, if that makes sense.
I think it's critical that we have grace and show grace for each other. And when it comes to passing judgment and putting our perspective and our worldview on someone whose shoes I have never walked in, this is the time to reserve that. You know, pull that back and consider this. It could be you. You know, it could be you. So I think we have to really, in this season and in all seasons, just show a little grace and compassion. We have some more questions from the viewing audience, and we're running out of time slowly. So I want to get to some of the questions. And Molly, you touched on this. You talked about, you know, this has taught me, you know, I need to have a savings. You know, we need to have some money in reserve so when crises happens, you know, we have something to live on. So Bridgit and Denise, what has going through this pandemic taught you?
For me, it's just taught me to have an alternative plan. Like to be flexible, to be a little bit more flexible. I'm you know, not that this has much to do, it might not mean anything to anyone else, but I'm an earth sign. So I'm very, very grounded. I don't really like change, but this has taught me to be adaptable and creative, some different ways to reach my, my customer base.
If
Like
someone can turn,
like family dinners, are doing to increase the stream of income coming in, but flexibility and just being a little bit more open and free to change.
Yeah.
Because we don't know, and then just finding new ideas. I mean, I've even researched. Like I said, we're the only business of our kind in Augusta, and really, actually, probably all the way between here in Atlanta and between here in Columbia. But like I've even researched some companies that are similarly situated, like on the West Coast and on the East Coast, to try to see like what they're doing to adapt to this change. So it's really taught me to be flexible.
Yeah. What about you, Bridgit?
The same. I've always believed in being flexible and having, more than one egg in a basket. But I do believe that this has this should teach people to be more creative and aware of what's going on around them, and not to just think that this can't happen to me, or or just basically to just be more proactive about it. Like I said, I had a cosmetic business right before 9/11 happened. So I kind of, experienced that, and being having a hair salon and having that as well. So at that time I didn't take it as serious. Now I'm older and taking things a lot more seriously now. You just can't chop everything up as into that this just can't happen to me. So I think I think the best thing is to just be a little bit more flexible than what you think you are.
Right. There's a term that came to mind as you all were explaining your perspective on this. This is about you. The word pivot came to mind, and I've heard the word pivot. I know what pivot is, but this experience really propels you to pivot, to change directions potentially, to focus current perspective. So it definitely causes you to be adaptable. It causes you to be more open and be more flexible. So I think certainly in business, but in life just in general, this has certainly been one of the lessons for me. We have two more questions. One from Joseph Collier. He says, and some of you have touched on this a little bit. He says, I know that the government sends stimulus checks to small business owners for their employees, but what about the one entrepreneur who has no employees, but definitely needs some financial help when his or her business depends on operations of other business? So I think you all touched on that briefly. So, these big companies are getting all this money. In fact, there were companies sending money back, millions of dollars back that could have gone to the three of you. But what would you tell another small business owner who has no employees? What would you tell them right now, who didn't get a stimulus check or who didn't qualify for a stimulus check, considering what you all are still yet waiting on from the government? Denise?
I'm not waiting anymore. I'm done waiting. I would say, there is the economic disaster loan, but here's my position on that is I don't even think this is an ideal time to assume a loan. When we don't know, if we don't have the resources coming in now to borrow money, and you don't know how you're going to pay it back really because you don't know what's happening in the coming months, I feel like it's a setup. So personally, I would say, find a way to supplement your income or, you know, another way through your business that you could possibly serve your customers. Like I said, for us, I mean, it's been art, and then I've been able to still do juice and things like that for takeout, but just not at the volume that I would normally do. But if you have a product that you can actually, you know, ship, you know, find different ways. And if you're not computer savvy, because social media, you know, is unfortunately is like probably one of the primary ways that we can reach people.
Mm-hmm.
Let people see your face, you know, do a live video and talk about your product, and let people see you and hear you, and, you know, feel your compassion and your, you know, passion for what you do. And then when you find out what they need and what they want from you and what you can offer, and then just go, you know, go from there. But you have to find a way, you know, to reach them by not a traditional means. And if you're not computer savvy, if you're around teenagers, they can work anything on these. So, you know, get a child, or, you know, if you have a child, and get somebody to help you so that you can, I mean, it's easy now. You can schedule posts. So definitely get in front of your audience, get in front of your customers, and find out what it is that they need from you and from your business, and then try to reach them that way.
Yeah, this is definitely not the time to be bashful.
It's not at all.
Bridgit, Molly,
we don't even have employees. We work in our store. So, you know, so that makes it even, you know, even harder, because all of us are taking time from our schedules to run our store. And we were just talking about, oh, we can hire somebody, and then this happened. You know, so luckily, you know, it's a family for us, so we all alternate our days, and you know, my daughters help, and then, you know, my sisters and, you know, sister-in-laws. So but with that said, you know, I still keep my job, but then my job got let go too. So, you know, that's the backup, as in, if, you know, if we ever need any extra money, you know, we can dip into our savings or whatever, you know, each one of us, but even that gets old after a while.
Molly, do you have any thoughts on that question about, you know, if you're a small business owner, you don't have employees, you didn't get the stimulus check, so, you know, what's next? What should I do?
Just like what I said, I mean, there are other alternative methods. There are also grants. There's women and minority-based grants. There's women-owned grants. There's Kiva, which I don't know if you guys heard of that. It's a community-based loan program where it's no interest. And if you have a social media, I actually just applied for today, so they'll be releasing my my profile. And you basically get referrals, and you get people to donate like maybe $10. Once you get 15 people, then you go live on the platform of Kiva. And anybody can donate, but then you pay back. But then you have a 6 months grace period, and then I think, I'm just saying on mine, I think they said I would pay back like 100 and something a month, and it can drag out for 24 months, but there's no interest, and it's a community. It's community based. I like I said before, there's really no excuse at all not to be on social media, because you can go. There's a really good, I don't know if anybody's heard of Gary Vaynerchuk. He's amazing. And if you have no idea how to do anything on Instagram, you can just go on his Instagram and he'll give you tips. I used to do social media about 6 years ago, so before I did this. And I even went on his Instagram and got motivated yesterday. And just a little tip he had was like, go into people's DMs. I started getting ideas. So I made a goal that I would reach 2,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm at 2,023 now. I was at 1,075, almost at 2,000. So I'm like, one day I've gotten 50 followers.
Wow.
Because I just dedicated myself to do it. And it's not hard. You just have to sit there and do it instead of watching TV like I was doing, or if my husband's watching TV, or, you know, like, that's not all I'm doing, but we don't have much else to do, like I said. Like I just started getting the momentum back to get back on my social media stuff that I should have been doing, that I even knew better for my own self. Really, there's no excuse. If you don't know, you can learn it by just looking at
Yeah.
By just looking at somebody that knows.
There's also a friend of mine sends me all kind of information, and she sent me one that Verizon is doing it's a LISC Verizon funding grant. They will provide up to $10,000 to businesses facing immediate financial pressure because of COVID-19. So entrepreneurs of color, women-owned businesses, and other enterprises in historically underserved communities as well.
And I think Facebook is too.
Huh?
Facebook is doing one too.
Yeah, we saw the Facebook one, but unfortunately, with us being in the cannabis industry, I can barely get an ad on Facebook. So that's our other issue too, because of the industry that we're in. A lot of people, a lot of companies or organizations will not, help us, which is so sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't advertise we do a CBD smoothie, but I
can't say CBD
on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll cut it off. They'll shut it down. They will shut it down quickly. We have time for 3 more questions. And this has been a dynamic conversation, by the way. I love how you all are feeding and bouncing off of each other and providing ideas and sometimes solutions, for whether you have a brick and mortar business or you're a network marketer or you're starting off and you just don't know what to do. Social media is the first way to go. And then you become more creatively active, if you will, on these social media channels, and then tapping into resources like you, Bridgit, and you, Molly, and you, Denise. And I don't want to speak for you, but if there are people in the viewing audience that want to connect with you and, chat with you about what you're doing and what you plan on doing in the future, certainly please take advantage of that opportunity if you are open to that. So we have 3 more questions. One question is, Bridgit, and this is from me because I'm just curious, and this is all about the pivoting. It's all about doing things differently. It's all about what this has taught me. You posted recently about the stock market, investing, the gas prices dropped. Molly, I wish I could drive to Puerto Rico.
I know, right? It would be booked.
Yeah. So Bridgit, talk to us about what you're doing in terms of buying stocks. Do you have any advice that you can give to the viewing audience?
I'm not a stock advisor, but I play around a little bit, and me and my husband, we do TD Ameritrade. He has his own thing. I have my own thing, but I started doing like little stocks on Cash App because it was fun. I would be sitting at work on set, and I'd be like, oh, okay, well, let me just do this right. It was so quick and easy and fast, and it was fun. It became fun. So I was like, okay, well, instead of me, being on Amazon all day while I'm sitting here, I can just be on Cash App and buying things. And when right before COVID got really bad, we were talking about watch gas goes down. And of course, gas went down and the oil stocks started going down. And then lately they really started going down. So, with all this stuff that's going on. So I just pick and choose things and, play around with it, if I have extra money to do it. But if you're looking for something quick in a return, then that's not something you should do.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. It's not something to do right now that, you pay that $1,500 or $1,200 utility bill, it's not necessary.
Right. Okay. But I mean, if you have a little change to sit around, just to, play with and sit around and you're not worried about it and treat it like something else, and it'll pay off later on, or maybe it won't pay off. It's like playing cards.
Exactly. The chance you're willing to take.
Yes.
You're willing to take. All right. So 2 more questions. Moet Archer asks, and this is basically for the Georgia-based businesses. She said, do the businesses here in Georgia feel that the sanitation guidelines are realistic to be upheld? So, these stipulations now for businesses being open, they have to provide X, Y, and Z for their staff to make sure that, they're they're protecting the client. Do you think that's realistic? Are they going to be able to uphold this? Denise?
Well, in terms of the cleaning, I would say for us it is, because we're already food service, and we do serve, like I said, a large percentage of immune compromised customers. So we already had to take extra precautions, just to prepare for them. I think that as time goes on, the sanitizing of the terminals and the sanitizing of the doorknobs and things like that. I think that for some businesses, it might be a little challenging, even with masks, like to continuously provide masks for your staff. I think it's going to be challenging. Like for us, our space, nobody is within 10 feet of each other, even our workers. Like they work on two opposite ends, of the business. And when I'm there, same thing, different area. So the social distancing part is not too challenging. I think the challenge is going to come in providing PPE on a regular basis. Now, there are some things that I just said, if they demand that I have to do that, I'll probably close. Like, I'm not taking nobody's temperature every day. Like, I just feel like I'm not taking my staff's temperature, my customer's temperature. I'm just not going to do it.
Mm-hmm. I'm like you, Denise. I'm not with taking a temperature thing. And in our store, there's no more than maybe 2 or 3 people. If 2 or 3 people at the same time in there, if it's more than 3 people or 4 people at one time, that's crowded to us. Usually it's like, whoever's working in there and one customer or maybe 1 or 2 customers come in, but it's so much room in there where you can just social, you can be 6 to 10 feet apart. Without that. But as far as, I had masks made, somebody offered to make us some masks, a good friend of mine, and, to give out to our, customers that come in. Some of it like it, some of them don't, but I put them in the bags anyway, just because it's a gift. Right. And also we did our corporation headquarters, they did give us hand sanitizer to give out, to customers, and people appreciated that. But as far as, I'm like you, Denise, I'm not into policing and taking anybody's temperature, to do that every time they walk in the door. But it's the simple things that we've always done, wiping down the door handle. I mean, right. I don't know why this is new to people.
Right. Washing your hands should be routine.
Wiping down your door handles and cleaning your windows and cleaning the cash register off, and having hand sanitizer be something new for businesses or for people anyway. Right. These are precautions you should always take.
Yeah. So this isn't anything new. This isn't something that we should have. This shouldn't be an aha moment for anybody. We should have been doing these things.
But unfortunately, it is some aha moment.
You're right. You're so right. Now, Molly, I know that was a question for the Georgia-based businesses, but I'm sure Puerto Rico is going to, put some stipulations and guidelines in place. When they do, depending on what they are, do you think it's going to be manageable? Do you think it's good? And from a bed and breakfast perspective, how do you think that would work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're going to I know Airbnb is putting some restrictions, and they're even now saying they're going to make you have a 24-day between check-in, 24 hours, which that's pretty bad because I really do have back-to-back. But we already have a really good housekeeping system already. So we'll probably just ramp it up if we can, a little bit more. We already have a lot of that stuff that we do. But we'll let people know that's what we're doing, and we'll post it and put it in our description so people understand.
Yeah. Well, look, you guys, being a small business owner certainly has rewards. It certainly allows you to give back and serve the community. And that's the bright side of it. But when things like this happen and the bottom drops out, it can be hard. And I do hope that you all find your footing and you become stronger. And I do hope that once you do become stronger, your community will come back, because that's what it is. That's what a small business is. It's community. It's bringing together people. And that's the unfortunate thing about circumstances like this, because at this point, it's making people stand 6 feet away and not just at the store, but just in general, and I feel so bad. And Bridget and Denise, I'm a little scary, so I'm sorry. I love y'all's strength. But, when I see people at the store and they're standing right up on me, I have to tell them, can you go back just a bit. But I don't like that. I don't like having to look at people with questioning eyes. And so not only are we standing 6 feet apart, I think we're standing 6 feet apart in terms of humanity, in terms of a unified front. So I hope that community comes back. And Molly, your bed and breakfast will get booked back to capacity. And Bridget, your clients will come and they'll have that safe haven. And Denise, that your chemo patients and other people with compromised immune systems will get the help and healing that they need. And in closing, and you guys, those of you who are watching, please, if you have any further questions, leave them below in the thread of this video. And I trust that Bridget, Molly, and Denise will come back and answer those questions for you. One last question, and Denise, this is for you, and I'm curious too. She says, I'm not sure who this is, but she says, as an herbalist, what are some things you do in your everyday life to remain healthy and avoid COVID-19?
Well, let me just say the number one thing, because it all starts in your mind, rather than what you take. Because if you're going to take herbs and you have a trash diet or a trash mindset, it doesn't matter. You may as well just, eat McDonald's. But what I do personally and what I do for the entire household right now, it's my husband, my teenage son, and my grandson here. And I mean, everybody's taking vitamin C. We do Rhodiola rosea, moringa. We do a superfood smoothie in the morning with moringa, and I'll put it in the comments for people who want. Rhodiola rosea. I use ginger and lemon and greens, and we do that every day. We make sure we get vitamin C, and we exercise because you have to keep your lung capacity up in order to be able to function if you were to get sick, not just with COVID, but even with the flu. You want to be able to breathe. You want to be able to sustain yourself. But, I eat as close to the earth as I possibly can. I mean, myself personally, I'm a vegan, but I don't impose that on other people. I think people should do what is good for their own bodies. But, we eat a lot of greens. We eat like we eat. But the superfood smoothies have really helped, and I'll put that in there so that, if other people want to know what the easy to access ingredients that anybody can do, just the 8 ounce in the morning, that'll greatly help.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. You talked about vitamin C, and this is just for my own curiosity and for the health and well-being of my own family. So I started taking, and this is not a natural supplement, but I started taking Emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And we just take an Emergency. And then Emergency was nowhere to be found in the stores. Is that a viable source to
I like Emergency actually. If I'm on the go, I'll go to Emergency if I'm somewhere where I can't get, an orange that I can press out and some lemon and some ginger. If I can't get what I need, from the natural source, we'll definitely pop an Emergency, no problem. One thing that people kind of misinterpret a lot of times about people who live a naturalist life or that live a vegan life is that we get everything we need from our diets, and we don't. We have to supplement. Because most people, the way we live and we're on the go all the time, most of us are not going to get everything we need from the grocery store shelf, because we're eating on the go, we're moving. So supplements are definitely necessary. So,
well, thank you for that. Thank you for answering that. Bridget, Molly, any final thoughts?
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. I'm so glad you said yes. Really glad.
Thank you for having us, and just everybody, take heed to what Denise was saying and what Molly was saying, and just stay active during this time. And this has been, even though the situation is bad, it's been like one of the best for me. I feel better than I have ever felt better before.
Mm-hmm.
So get up every morning, use this time to focus on yourself, work out, reevaluate what's going on in your life, or reevaluate what's going on with yourself, and, use this time to just think of different business ventures. It doesn't take a lot of money to start a business. It depends on what you want to do, but just use this time wisely and reevaluate a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, those are very powerful final thoughts, and I hope the audience was able to glean some good gems from you all. I tell you, these panel discussions have been amazing. I've learned and been inspired, and I trust that the people watching are learning and being inspired. Bridgit, Molly, Denise, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. My pleasure.
I see you still wearing that red lipstick.
Mm-hmm. But for those who are watching, thank you so much. Join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we're talking to moms who are wearing multiple hats. They're doing all the things, and they just want to know, is this real life? So they're gonna talk to us about their life right now during the era of COVID-19. Just some special shout outs of thanks to my production manager, who happens to be my sister. I put her to work. I put her to work. I'm not gonna pay her. I just love her. As well as Candace Green, who also was a guest, but she helped me. What is the word?